I'm 16 years old and pregnant and I haven't told my parents. I'm actually 5 months along. What should I do? My parents are extremely strict. If you think your parents are strict, you haven't met mine. From the time I was a kid, I was never allowed to go to sleepovers or even go to friends' houses. All my friends had to come over to my house. Luckily, my parents are pretty cool and I do have fun with them. But I quickly started resenting them. Here's the reason I think they're super strict. My mom actually ended up getting pregnant from my dad when she was 16. So they were super young. And of course, they didn't want the same thing to happen to me. I guess I kind of understood why they were strict. When I was 13, I decided I would start sneaking out to go to parties. All of my friends had parties and I was the only one that was never allowed to go. So I actually got pretty good at sneaking out. I convinced my parents that I would go to bed early, then I would have a backpack ready and I would just sneak out the window. Luckily, I'm on the first floor. Part 2 is up. I'm 16 and pregnant and I haven't told my parents. What should I do? I got really good at sneaking out of the house to go to parties. Eventually, I started sneaking out almost 3 times a week. Anytime anyone was having a get-together, or a party, or when I was asked out by a boy. My parents had a strict rule that I could not date any boys, especially spend any time alone with them. But this boy at school that I really liked asked me out. Apparently, my friends made sure to tell him that I liked him and then he said that he liked me. So there was no way I was going to pass up on the chance to just hang out with him. I was 15 and I had never been kissed. So I snuck out of the house just like I did every other time. We actually met at a park and just talked for like 2 hours. Then he walked me home and everything was pretty innocent. I even thought about telling my parents, but I decided not to. But this boy quickly started pressuring me into doing things that I wasn't ready to do. It's not like I was sneaking out with the intention to do anything. I just wanted to have fun. But he started asking me to wear different clothes, and I did. He even asked me to get a belly button piercing. Part 3 is I'm 16 and pregnant, and I still haven't told my parents. And I'm also 5 months along. That's when this boy started pressuring me into get a belly button piercing. I started changing the way that I dressed, and he started pressuring me into doing things like kissing and touching. At this point, I was still sneaking out of the house almost every single night to see him. That's when he started pressuring me into going to his house instead of the park. And I said yes because I didn't want him to break up with me. When I told him I didn't want to go all the way, he told me that there were plenty of girls in school that would happily take my place. So we went all the way. At this point, I was 15 and I had just gotten my period. By the way, I didn't even tell my mom about my period because I thought they would freak. After 2 months passed, I didn't get my period. And I thought that was normal. I had literally no idea about periods. Then another 2 months passed and no period. And that's when I started feeling really sick. And I thought, well, I might as well go get a test. And it was positive. When I told the boy, he broke up with me and told me that I probably did it with somebody else. I feel like I can hide the whole pregnancy because I'm pretty skinny. My mom's asking me why I'm wearing big clothes. My parents will literally kill me. What should I do? My boyfriend wants to marry me so that he can get his green card. What should I do? Disclaimer, it's not my story time. It's on Instagram. Okay, this is crazy. My boyfriend and I met 2 weeks ago. We met through Hinge and after 2 days of talking, he asked me out. I quickly said yes. We were super compatible. He's a model and I'm a model. I'm an actress and he's trying to be an actor. So things just seem perfect. Oh yeah, and he's really hot. We went out to lunch and talked for 4 hours. The entire 4 hours, we just laughed and had such a good time. We talked about everything. Our families, our values, our morals. It was honestly the most refreshing conversation I've had on a date ever. Most men just talk about themselves. And he asked me so many questions. After the date, we spent every single day together. We even went to Disney and it was so fun. While we were at Disney, he kissed me for the first time. And he said that he would love to marry me. My boyfriend wants to marry me so that he can get his green card. What should I do? Disclaimer, is not my story time. It's on Instagram. He finally kissed me when we were in Disney. And that's when he told me that he would love to marry me. At first, I was very flattered, but then he said, wouldn't you want to marry me? And I said, I mean, I don't really know you. And he said, we'll get to know each other. Don't worry. After that, we spent every single day together. At the time, he was living with his roommate and he didn't really like her. So he would come over to my apartment almost every single day and sleep there. He would go to Air One and buy all of my groceries, come over and cook for me. Every single day, he made us amazing food. We'd watch movies together, and we'd help each other with all our work stuff. I felt like I was falling in love with him, and I'd only known him for a week at that point. That's around the time that he told me he couldn't stand his roommate anymore. And he asked me if he could just stay with me for a few weeks. I told him yes, but that he had to help me with the rent. And of course, he said yes. So this man moved into my apartment after 1 week of knowing each other. I mean, am I going crazy? Part 3 is up. My boyfriend wants to get married to me so that he can get his green card. What should I do? Disclaimer, is not my story time. It's on Instagram. He moved in a week after we met. Everything was going great. He helps out with the bills, does all the cooking. He buys all the groceries and basically does everything for me. Even takes care of my dog, does my laundry. I mean, he's everything I've ever asked for. We have such a good time together. We watch movies every single night. We go out to dinner and hang out with friends. And he's so funny and makes me laugh so much. Fast forward another week. This is when he says that he really does want to marry me. I told him that I would love to marry him too, but that we don't know each other yet. And he said the L word. And I said it back. That's when he said that the only way he could stay in the country with me was if we got married. And that he had already looked into other possibilities, but that was the only one. I told my parents, but they freaked out and told me I shouldn't marry him. All my friends think that he's just trying to use me, but I don't think so. I really do believe this man loves me. I mean, he does so much for me and really cares for me. So I need you guys to help me think of ways to put him to the test. How can I know that he's faithful and that he really loves loves me and isn't using me. What should I do?